Brian, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. If you'd like to introduce yourself and your role at Earth Rated, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. So I'm Brian Etcovitch. I am the Senior Director of Digital and Social Marketing here at Earth Rated, where we specialize in dog supplies.
Yeah, fantastic. Brian, tell me a little bit about your background, how you come to be in the role you're at with Earth Rated currently, and yeah, and then we can kind of jump into the business and some things you're excited about and what you get to do at Earth Rated.
Yeah. So I started, I would say, in practical work experience at an agency, a digital performance agency, about 8 years ago at this point when Amazon ads was becoming a thing, Amazon Marketplace, especially here in Canada. Um, and so I got to build out an entire team and ecosystem around Amazon, everything from onboarding uh, vendors, sellers, trying to improve sales, the usual. I moved on um, from there, and we were very fortunate to get our client as L'Oreal. And so we had all the sub brands that come along with it. And it was really cool to watch them grow on Amazon, especially during COVID. I started here at EarthRate in 2021, where as the director of e-commerce and very much oversaw all our e-commerce pure player channels. So everyone from Amazon and the global marketplaces, Chewy, Grove Collaborative, really worked on expanding our marketplace and e-commerce landscape. More recently, I got moved onto the marketing team where I very much oversee all our digital. So everything from TikTok Shop, our new D2C channel, affiliates, SEO, paid media. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. How would you say that transition from what the role was originally into what are the biggest changes from the role you originally had coming into Earth Rated into now?
I think having control. I think before on the e-commerce side, when we're, make a change to an Amazon PDP, increase ads, you saw that change in conversion. You saw good or bad, you're able to measure it and optimize likely. Whereas I think in digital and paid media, most people know sometimes you're throwing spaghetti at a wall. You're hoping either videos that we are posting see some virality or just really good engagement that lead to sales, but it's kind of the long game. So not being able to prove yourself or get those wins as quick as you wanted, I think for me is the biggest change.
Yeah, that's great. So, just having more control, getting to move faster, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a dog owner myself. I have two. Do you have any pets?
I don't. So it's been I had a Bernese Mountain Dog growing up for
Yeah.
13 years, so very much a dog person. I've been tempted many times, but it's a huge responsibility.
Yes, correct. It
So
is. I was lucky enough to fall into a couple dogs because I feel like if I actually had to consciously make that choice, there probably been a million reasons why. But as a now dog owner, I have two dogs. I'm very familiar with the brand. I use the product all the time. I've definitely tried dollar store bag brands, and they by no means compare to what Earth Rate is doing. Plus, it smells nice, which is a huge plus. Um, I'm just curious, like with the story of Earth Rate, like what really would you say sets you guys apart from the industry? I mean, you're tackling a huge niche and an everyday product, which can really be a challenge. So, do you feel like you had a disruptive advantage, a marketing advantage coming in with Earth Rated? What do you think was their real superpower to being able to essentially kind of dominate that space?
yeah, I think we were early entrants. I would say that was really it. The company was founded in 2009 when one of the founders was walking their dogs, and their wife had purchased at that time the first poop bags that didn't really exist. Most people used grocery store bags to bag their poop. And he put his hand through it, and he's like, "I just paid I don't know how much money for poop bags, and they don't even work." So he kind of toiled with it, worked on a prototype, got them made, and started handing them out to local pet stores here. And he saw the demand, and he kind of built the business, and we built the brand. And we were very much going on, especially back then, biodegradability, compostability, and now we've kind of landed on this responsibility. We are B Corp certified, so I think that is also a big piece of who we are because it's about the people and the planet, and every decision we make, every product we made has to take that into consideration. So I think when we started, again, we were that alternative to the dollar store bag, to the private label brands. There weren't very many national brands. So we were able to establish ourselves as a product that you can trust, that was quality, and that came at an accessible price.
Hmm.
So we're definitely more expensive than any of those private labels. But as I said, you put your hand through a bag once, you're like, never again. And we translated that into dog wipes. Again, it was a category that did not exist. People either using baby wipes or towels. We were a towel family with our dog. And then you realize the importance of wiping your dog's paws when they enter the room because
Hmm.
do you want that muddy, dirty mess? You go onto your bed with your shoes. No. So why do you want your dog to do it? As much as you love them and you want to cuddle with them, like they're still tracking in some questionable things, you know? So we did that and has been a great growth for the brand. And more recent times, we've launched grooming products. So a line of shampoos that go after different concerns for dog owners, a no rinse spray, a deodorizing spray, and most recently, and the biggest launch that we've done in the last little while, which are pee pads.
Hmm.
So now we're really kind of, we always say we're number one and number two. Now we're coming for number one in number one.
Absolutely. No, it's really like it's the playbook you want to be going after is, really inserting yourself with a singular SKU or a relatively disruptive product. I mean, being B Corp certified is super necessary. And I think fantastic mission you guys are on is your product ends up in the trash faster than most products I would say that people are consuming, right? It's the nature, it's what they're designed to be. So how sustainable can we be? And really asserting yourselves in that market. And then of course it's like, hey, dog owners need a lot more than just poop bags. So what is our brand going to expand out into? Biggest it's like I like to call it horizontal growth, right? Versus how many people can we get our dog bags into the hands of? Or can we now get each customer of ours using 4, 5, 6 different types of products that we supply? Few years in the time, let's say that time frame where you really feel like you've been able to instill a lot of impact in the growth of the business. What does that look like in terms of revenue channels, marketing channels? How did that, again, I'd imagine you were a relative approach of, whether it's new marketing channels and then, we're going D2C and then there's even more marketing channels that we can expand to within D2C or we're in marketplaces like Chewy or Amazon. What was that linear growth look like? What came after one another? And, what is that? Where are we at to now? And what are we looking forward to in the future as well?
Yeah, I think so. For us, when I was first hired like 4.5 years ago, the mandate was really to grow marketplace. We saw the most demand on Amazon, the business growth right after COVID. I started in 2021. People are getting new dogs, more dogs. Dogs were just growing in terms of popularity, product assortment, everything. So I think I was mandated to come in and to grow that, and very much through the typical channels of just Amazon ads, search and display. At one point, we were looking into D2C, and we decided at the time it was not the best for resources. Uh, Fast forward uh, a couple of years and a couple of failed attempts with some paid media attempts that we had tried, whether it was with Meta or Google. We had tried a couple things and never saw anywhere quite the returns that we were hoping for. Again, because we were so used to our as or ACOS on Amazon and it
Mm,
converting so well.
mhm,
Um, it was a tough sell to say, hey, um, let's switch channels. Let's add some more money to the upper funnel. And finally, we kind of did. And then we have a creator program that was launched about 2 years ago, really working with influencers who are in the dog space, who are really authorities in their areas to grow the brand awareness. And then through an MMM, we found out how well it did. And then it led us kind of on this path to say, okay, maybe let's revisit D2C. Let's revisit TikTok Shop. It was something, again, we were looking into the emergence of TikTok and the importance of being on TikTok, and trying to get the word out there in many different ways. So yeah, we've expanded in many different ways, I would say, over the past 4.5 years. And the spend is now in this, where should we put it? What should we focus on? So it's an interesting place to be, I would say, with ecom.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a really unique way into revisiting e-commerce and actually seeing some success because, I'd imagine at that time coming from Amazon, I mean, what we know about Amazon is it's high intent. People are on that marketplace looking for something and they want the security and the shipping times that come with Amazon Prime. And, for something that could be as low cost as dog bags, they have no problem making that purchase. And, margins can be a little bit slim on Amazon, but again, it's a place where really any type of product at any price point can be sold if there's demand. The challenge definitely with, D2C and doing that on your own store and leveraging the major marketing channels like Meta or Google is that those CPAs need to be able to fit into margins, right? So I'd imagine because I'm now, right, we've diversified in SKUs. I'm sure we're, thoughts of bundling or some bundles are together. And that overall goal of achieving a higher AOV really does let us play that game and stick a CPA into our acquisition cost. But during that time, I'd imagine it was just about, hey, how do we get people buying more dog bags on a acquisition cost that seems more like a variable expense, right? Is that the reason why you guys went with the affiliate space? Was it what type of because this is really interesting stuff and a lot of brand founders always kind of do are interested in dipping their toes in the affiliate space, but what did that look like for you guys on the way you compensated creators or what that outreach system was like? How did you make that sustainable for the business?
Yeah, I think it's so interesting. And when you say affiliates, people just assume it's an influencer. That there's many different affiliate levels, and you have again your lower converting, like we have the listicles, your BuzzFeeds, your all those. Then you have like Amazon creators, and you have everyone on your other social platforms and channels. So again, I think each channel we treated a bit differently, and we grew organically to see where that return comes from. And I really do think that the MMM, which again is not cheap, but a necessary thing for business, is to really understand the full funnel approach and to see the return on these influence programs that you might not see the direct sales from today, but in 6 months, and the halo effects that they have on the other categories. Like we had done our first campaign and it was for the grooming category. And what we actually saw was more people were getting wipes, and the wipes were able to attribute all the sale to wipes from this grooming video. So it's always interesting to see how it's done. But you had mentioned AOV before, and I think when it really comes down to the D2C piece, when we had started tinkling, no, not tinkling, that's not the right, I'm
Tinkering?
thinking tinkering, thank you. It's like seeing pee pads,
Hey, you just got
tinkering,
animals defecating
um,
on mind.
on our D2C with Buy with Prime, and we saw the AOV shoot up, right? We knew our Amazon AOV, and it like instantly doubled, right? Because the shopping habits on Amazon is I need it, I buy it.
Mhm.
You're not building a cart. You're not doing any cross category sales. It's very, very tough to do it, right? So I think for us, we started seeing that. And then, going into the D2C realm, it was onboarding Klaviyo, more recently, rebuys. You mentioned bundling before. So I think that's been a huge piece where we've seen a lot of incremental sales, and we could see exactly how they do it. And most recently, Recharge, which again is a huge part of our business, right? We have people who are coming back time and time again for our products. You never want to run out of poop bags, especially with pee pads. And I think pee pads was the impetus because the ASV was higher, right? Our poop bags are generally on the lower end and margins are tougher. But with the pee pads, we're able to utilize it in a different way and to really hope that like we start increasing our lifetime value and being able to own that customer data. We never had it before. Like think
Yeah.
how many millions of customers we have on Amazon that we never get to interact with or newsletter or anything. And it's just like they could be the biggest brand advocates, follow us on social, do that, but like they never fall into that realm. So we're trying to change that a bit.
Yeah, it's massive, and especially when you have a brand where, again, I mean, you think about so many brands that would be considered like a CPG business, a consumable, packaged goods business, which essentially is the category that Earth Rated falls under as well. And, any type of brand under that sun that is going to be something like, "Hey, we consume it, we need to get them on a subscription," is always gonna be a goal of a business, especially working on Shopify, because, again, the key to something like Shopify is that we just own that email, right? You can as any business, you can always be like, "Hey, there's a real need for us on Amazon. There's a real need for us in retail," but there should always be that effort to like, "Okay, how do we really make Shopify work?" Especially if you're a consumable based business, how do we really make Shopify work? Because of what you guys are implementing now is the ability to actually understand the lifetime value of a customer. Again, depending on the product, but over the next single month, 3 month, 6 month, 12-month period actually really does dictate how fast we can grow at top of funnel. Right? If you have a product where we know that they essentially go 3x on what they're worth to us in the next 3 months, then we feel a lot more confident scaling at a lower ROAS, because what we're actually aiming for now is new customers just as much as we're aiming for some type of profitability or some type of break even. And in certain circumstances, we can even afford a little bit of burn at the top because we know that's coming back. And that's data that will continue to solidify for your brand over time as more customers go through that lifetime value journey. What's so great about your business is that, hey, I might be a new protein bar and you should probably eat me once a day. So, buy a 30-day supply. I can almost guarantee you 60 to 70% of those consumers that got on the subscription rate are gonna be like, oh, another box of 30 come the next month. They're gonna get sick of it. Something like bags it's such a core staple and such a fundamental thing that it's like you ensure quality is there and they're secure every time, they smell good. You're gonna have a lifetime customer happily, getting a new box of Earth rated supplies showing up every month.
Yeah, and
So
the best part is you know your habit, right? You know that, a 270 box should last you anywhere from 4 to 6 months, so you know how often you use it, so the subscription will be really, really important, and, one of the things on the site was we had to understand that, yeah, we still need 2 to 3 days shipping. We
mhm.
couldn't compromise that because it's important, and it's one of obviously why people choose Amazon because they know it's gonna be delivered next day. But just even to go back and the importance of D2C in this channel, I think, brands always struggle. And I've read an article that like Honest Company was trying to shut down their D2C brand because it doesn't fit into their marketing mix and they want to go after a higher margin, which you have to respect every company. I think every company needs to understand where it falls in their funnel. If you're a D2C forward company, obviously your website is of most importance. But a brand like us, I think as we develop this website, we'll understand where it comes. It might not be our most proper, like you said, but it will resonate specifically for certain customers. And I talked about TikTok Shop before, and that's the perfect example. This is very much a brand awareness play, an acquisition play. But where do those people go after they've bought on TikTok Shop, right? We said they're going to go to retail, they're going to go to Amazon, they're going to come to our website. We've seen
Mhm,
brand searches increase tremendously on Google. So
mhm.
we know that people are now looking for us in a higher rate before, so they need to go somewhere, and we'd rather them land on us because, as great as our Amazon business is, there's 800 cheaper options. They're getting 800 ads from different when you're on your own website, you get
You're
people
in the funnel.
if yeah, you own them.
Yeah,
So,
you're in the funnel, they're not looking anywhere else, and they don't have another link they can click onto for a
yeah.
competitor.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the levels to it too, right? Where we again, like, when we're proving out concept on something like Shopify, we want to be it's not that we necessarily need to be bootstrapped as a business, but we need to make sure we're being as efficient as possible. And we wanna make sure that our ad dollars, as a business like yours, I'm sure it's always like, "Okay, what were the results of this year to dictate what does the budget look like for next year, and are we growing that system?" Um, and then you hit a new level where we start to look at different metrics like MER, what I like to call the halo effect, which is ultimately, hey, maybe we're getting a better return per dollar on something like Shopify than we are Amazon. But, you know, that is creating an effect that, normally what happens is you're going to see a lot of Shopify traffic or ad traffic actually end up on Amazon. So, the concept was if you were to shut down everything you were doing and all the traffic you're driving to your site today, you're going to see traffic decrease on your Amazon tomorrow, right? And once we kind of establish what I like to call those core main arteries of what are the marketing channels coming to our Shopify store, aka Meta, Google, which again are I like to call them the legacy channels. They've been around for the longest. They have the most spend. They have the largest demographic of consumers. Um, sure, we go onto TikTok Shop or we go into Pinterest or we're trying to expand into a sphere, but at a certain point, you know, just because we're acquiring at what is maybe a higher cost on some of these other channels outside of Meta, doesn't mean that that system as a whole isn't contributing to the actual growth and the actual bottom line of the business when it comes to just purchasing online. And really, the only way to determine that is if you're like, okay, we've established here, what would happen to our Meta results if after 3 months of running TikTok Shop we turn that off? There's at a certain point you can only see, but again, third party tools, things like Triple Whale or Northbeam, these things are allowing us to really start to paint that picture and get a sense of like, what is that standard journey that most people are going on through? Maybe there's a direct click. And again, everybody always post iOS era wants to talk about like the definitive truth on attribution. What attribution model tells me the truth? And the reality of it all is that multiple different attribution models will tell you multiple different things
Correct.
about
Yeah.
that purchasing journey.
Yeah.
The first click is valuable for a certain instance. The last click is valuable for a certain instance, and then that whole holistic look is valuable as well, just in different ways. But yeah, building that halo effect is kind of that step two, right? Where it's like we just want to be everywhere now, and we know that we start looking at the function as a whole for our entire ad dollar budget going out versus what's returning. Can we lift that, right? And exploring new channels is really important to building that trust and that authority for someone who might see you on Meta first, 7-day window, they convert through that. So revenue's looking good, but it's also attributed to like a Google or a TikTok impression as well.
Yeah, and you brought up Myrrh, and I think that also is for larger companies that really do have both an online and a retail presence is sometimes a great way to look at things because, sometimes we've had buyers that come to us because they saw something we did on social, something we did, and then the same for customers, right? They might see something on social and buy in store, so that ad dollar is not attributed to your to Meta or to Google. I mean, sometimes it can be, but the idea is, you have to look at this kind of holistically. How is this affecting my business? So those ad dollars can sometimes go a long way, and we've seen a strong lift in retail sales also in the last little bit. So I truly think again, it's a full ecosystem. Again, everyone talks about the funnel. It's linear. It's this. It's that. Whatever. There's a funnel, and you just gotta really utilize every tool that's at your fingertips to just
Yeah.
maximize your exposure.
Yeah, we become so privileged, in our era of getting to do marketing that we, as much as possible, we get to connect dots, right? From a click to a purchase. Hey, I mean, everybody was throwing up billboards on the corner of X and Y because they just understood that their demographic lived there, and that was the extent of it. And we would hope that Coke sales would go up at the corner stores within that region if there was a billboard there. And that was the way you tracked it. And that is still valuable, right? Like those impressions based, knowing that looking at we're increasing our budgets on digital advertising and we are seeing retail start to take a lift. Like we have to believe that that is correlated, even though we can't directly track it yet. Sure, Amazon with their instant checkouts in retail stores and whatnot are soon going to be able to blend those two together of human behaviors in retail and digital. But that's a conversation for another day when that actually becomes applicable, right?
Yeah, and one of the things also I wanted to, as I'm like reflecting here of other reasons why I went D2C, and I think also now with the push of LLMs and chat, obviously
Mhm,
the chat integration with Shopify, like knowing that we're now changing all our listings to make sure that they're picked up by the LLMs, and
mhm,
so it's an interesting thing. Again, we're living in a very different space. It is
mhm,
so evolving, but I think Shopify has done a really great job of keeping their stores at the forefront of technology and being but able to access and bring in and all the apps and everything. And I have to tell you, like, as someone who is still new to the Shopify ecosystem, like their AI agent has saved me
mhm.
hours and dollars. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're definitely at the cutting edge when it comes to e-commerce specifically, and Yeah, again, like their implementation of making sure that, heading in that direction of GEO, which is essentially LLM SEO, I think it's in their huge benefit to make sure that they're collaborating with the largest LLMs in the world to make sure that, hey guys, if you want to show up on these LLMs, Shopify is the place to be hosting your store. Um, W I'm curious, what are your biggest marketing channels right now? And for Brian and the brand, what again, this is a good segue talking about the changing landscape and how things are moving, even from the deliverables we're bringing today. Landing pages now have AI focus on them. Creatives are AI avatars are all over the place, but also new marketing channels are starting to pop up. What's been your bread and butter and growth for Shopify right now in terms of marketing channels? And what are maybe some channels that, it sounds like TikTok Shop's there, but what are some channels you're looking to explore and scale for 2026 for Threaded?
It's a tough one. I mean, for us, yeah, I think TikTok Shop really is the biggest. Um, just because we've seen some good success and good correlation with the halo effect on both D2C and on Amazon. So we're able to do it. And again, I'll always say we're tied to sales. No matter as much as we say we don't want to. Sometimes because of the nature of our products, it's a bit tougher sometimes to hit someone with a meta ad about our pee pads. When they already have a dog, and already got the puppy, already got the pee pads, and by the time they see the ad, so I think we've discussed that sometimes the timing and a lot of our products are sometimes very like, I ran out of poop bags and I need to buy them again. So you might not see the ad when you need to see it. So I think Google search, going back to the basics, like Google search and shopping is somewhere, you can't neglect because it's the most high intent. And as I said, because we're still tied to ROAS, that's where we're still
Absolutely.
pushing it. Uh, I would say in terms of other channels that I would love to explore if I had more time, whether Substack becomes something. I think again, because we are a dog company, there's so much information. We put a lot out on our blog that I think, users and newsletter, but I find it fills a different space. I would say that Reddit is a channel that we use more for information than, because I think again, Reddit is, you do not infiltrate Reddit as a brand and think that you're going to come in here and start, you know, like old Facebook group types of days. I don't think you could do that. Reddit will like knock you out the second you start doing things like that. So I think we're still staying pretty traditional with our marketing channels, and uh, I don't know really what's on the horizon that I can not necessarily talk about, but that I could think about offhand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like I think it sounds like there's definitely still opportunity to go vertical with your current channels. Are you pretty evenly split between Meta and Google? Does Google dominate? Does Meta dominate? What does that look like across your spend?
Yeah. So I think we spend more on Meta.
Hmm.
I'd see stronger returns on Google. Uh, we had tried streaming TV. We had done like a big ad, and again, when you look at the acquisition cost, you're like, and you're like, hopefully this is good. And again, a lot of the time, brands are like, you look at that and you're like, oh, this was a failure. But sometimes you have to look internally, like, was the messaging right?
Hmm.
Did we actually have a call to action at the end? Like, what did we expect from this? So I think, setting those clear expectations are really important. But yeah, I would say right now, Google will, as we really trying to figure D2C out and without bleeding too far till we really get our creative strong, I think till we update our website is still very much informational, and we kind of flipped it to D2C. It was always on Shopify Plus, but just how it was built. It was not necessarily built for like above the fold, below the fold, and like even mobile. Like first, you would have thought that like 4 years ago when we built it, that like it was mobile first, and it was really pretty, and there's that really amazing graphics, like, but it's not the same thing when you're trying to get
Make a
someone to
purchase.
make a purchase. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tool now, and it needs to be
Yeah.
treated like a tool. And anytime someone like we're not too, you know, we're looking to get more sales, so we're getting someone to redesign our website." And I'm like, "Just redesign it, or are we redesigning it based off of the data that's coming in from specifically cold paid traffic?" Because even the organic data that you're gonna get from your Shopify store, that's skewed to someone who's never been on your site before, and, all of a sudden you start running ads. The majority of your traffic is going to be from people browsing, window shopping, checking you out, wanting to learn more. We absolutely need to be building that journey based off of the majority of the traffic that are coming to
And
the
that's
site, right?
exactly the approach we're taking, and it was one of the big learning things. So it's been 6 months since we launched on D2C, and I think right now we're taking that exact stance of, okay, how do we increase our conversion rate? And we're starting with 1 PDP and trying to understand exactly that, because the amount of traffic that we're sending to this page and the conversions and similar thing. Again, what we saw was 95% of the traffic comes from mobile, but yeah, desktop converts at a higher rate, which is usual. But you're just like, "Okay, we have to fix this," right? If we really want to this to succeed, we need to really look at it, how we're getting people who see something for 2 seconds an ad and click through, and it's like, how do we convince these people to convert based on whatever message we just served them?
Yeah, for sure. No, and that's exactly right, and again, that is when we start to get deeper on the customer funnel. Initially we want to really figure out where we're able to move quick is in the messaging from the ads or the creatives on Meta, right? On Google, certain campaigns, certain keywords, how's that doing? On Meta, certain creative, right? Specific messaging that we put in the creative can kind of creative's just doing a lot better. We can infer that it's from the message that we're actually promoting, the unique selling proposition, the product, the offer, whatever it might be. We wanna go build that customer journey now. Once we understand what are kind of our top reasons why people are clicking into our brand, we could have 3 or 4 different landing pages running at the same time, because we could actually build out that journey much more than like, this is the message you're attracted to. Now come to our generic product page, or this is the message you're
Yeah,
attracted to.
exactly.
Come to the landing page where we continue to speak to the the mom, or the whatever it might be, the person with 3 dogs, or the listicle on 5 reasons why earth rated pee pads are better. And you're getting that information as a listicle on the landing page. Different customer journeys, different information, you can build that out with landing pages, and that skyrockets conversion rate.
And that's it's a great point because that's exactly it. Because that was one of the things we realized when we got into this new category. Although still in the waste management pee pads, there's clearly like 3 distinct segments, and it's exactly that. If I'm giving someone with a senior dog, well, I'm gonna wanna be able to answer all the questions someone who has a senior dog. It's not the same treating someone who just got a puppy,
Mhm,
right? The
mhm.
information that they need is not gonna be the same. So to have that different landing page approach is the way that we need to tackle it.
That's super exciting. Yeah, and it sounds like those are some really great goals to essentially the goal for the near term, is make better what's already working, right? Really, and that's a key thing to really remember too, is just because you have a funnel that's working, generating positive ROAS, doesn't even necessarily dictate, like, okay, let's go and see what's next and let's go into the unexplored frontiers. It's how can we make those CPCs cheaper, right? How can we boost that revenue per session? How can we increase that conversion rate? Or most importantly, too, like increase that average order value. Those are the things that just make more money for you out of systems you've already established.
Yeah. And that's our
Amazing.
brand ethos, right? It's making life with dogs simpler and better,
Yeah,
and that's
there you
exactly
go.
what we're trying to do here.
A perfect tie back to the brand. Well, yeah, Brian, we're coming up to time here. That I think, again, I easily go for another half hour, but it was really great speaking with you. Wish you
Pleasure
all the
speaking
best
to
with
you
Earth
well.
Rated, and I will be consuming, so I'll be
Thank you, and thank
contributing.
you for having me, and yeah, if you need anything, let me know.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care. Bye.